how Canada has dealt with the Khalistani issue has been a long-standing concern, because very frankly, they seem to be driven by vote bank politics. And their responses have all been, to the best of my understanding, actually constrained by what they regard as vote bank compulsions on them. We made it very clear, and I've done so sometimes even in public, which is that if there are activities which are permitted from Canada, which impinge on our sovereignty, territorial integrity, on our security, then, we will have to respond. So it is something which is I would say, a continuing conversation with Canada, not always a satisfactory conversation, but it is something on which we have been very, very clear.
The issue of Khalistani protesters, their events across Canada, and the laxity by the Canadian authorities and the government seems to have taken a center stage in India-Canada bilateral ties, because now External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar has clearly pointed out that there seems to be a clearly lack of political will to chase them away because of the political region, domestic political region, which clearly in the past also has been said to be one of the reasons why Canadian authorities are not very keen on taking strong action against these Khalistani protesters or the separatist group who have been on the center of targeting Indian communities, their establishment, their temples, their religious places. Across Canada, several incidences has happened where Hindu community members in Canada have also been attacked. But then police normally, registers FIR, their complaints, but further proceedings that could nab those culprits behind this dissection of temples or defacing of temple walls. We have not seen any such thing happening in the past, that those culprits have been nabbed by the police. So clearly, during an event in New Delhi, External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar has said that how Canada has dealt with the Khalistani issue is a long-standing issue for us, because very frankly, they seems to be driven by vote bank politics. Their responses have been constrained by what they regard as vote bank compulsions. We made it very clear that if there are activities which are permitted from Canada that impinges on our sovereignty, territorial integrity and our security, then we will have to respond. So India is responding in the same way. There is a substantial people-to-people linkage between India and Canada because of the diaspora, a huge diaspora that is present in Canada. Every year, thousands of students go to Canada, and like so many people immigrate to Canada also for the sake of dreaming better life and better career prospect in Canada. There is substantial trade also between the two sides. Trade happens in the sector of defense. Then there are export and import and commerce activities also very much involved. But that does not truly reflect the kind of potential that India and Canada may have had. And these issues of domestic politics that clearly have some bearing on India's sovereignty, India's integrity, and the kind of narrative that is spun around being anti-national, and that is propagated and supported by some very strong political groups, and government complicity is also very much seen in that cases, has been a broader reason why India-Canada bilateral relationship has not taken off in that way. We have seen India-US relationship going, at a very fast pace. Now $191 billion is the current bilateral trade, and India-Canada can also have a huge, relationship in that sense. Canada has a lot of natural resources, high technology expertises, and there can be bilateral cooperation. But unless until something that is very essence of being India, that is very essence of having a bilateral cooperation, that means that respecting each other's sovereignty, not allowing any element that has a bearing on the domestic politics of other country, other bilateral ally or friend or partner, is something that is very essential. And Canada seems to be ignoring the very fact that giving a push or not bringing or not curbing any Khalistani propagation or their movement across Canada is going to have a serious implication for India-Canada bilateral trade. And just in the name of freedom of expression or democratic rights, if Canadian authorities are letting these Khalistani goons on a rampage or on a all sort of anti-India, Hindu movement across Canada, that will Canadian authorities will have to give an answer to that, and India is going to respond in the same way.